Okay, so we have Marcus, we have Bryce. We will, once again, if you have a question, please give your name and your outlet before asking your question. We'll start here in front with Zach.
Zach Drapkin, Babel.com. Marcus, how do you plan on facing Yogi Ferrell?
Well, that's not going to be my initial matchup. I think it'll be Joel Berry. But I'll spend some time on him throughout the game. Just try to keep him in front of me. You know, he's really explosive and quick, and he can also shoot a really nice pull-up jumper. So, you know, he's a guy that's talented enough to get his over the course of a game. You just got to contest everything and keep him out of the paint because he's so good at getting shots for other guys as well that once he gets in the paint, he causes a lot of problems.
Stay in the front row over here.
Carlos Galazzo with the Daily Tar Heel. Marcus, I believe you said you've played against Yogi since 9th grade in high school. What have you seen from him as far as developing as a college player?
Well, he's always been a good point guard, good lead guard, great passer. But, you know, this year and last year to some extent, he's become a really, really good scorer. He's shooting the ball extremely well from deep. His pull-up jump shot's always been kind of his go-to thing. He's getting in the paint and can finish. So he's just expanded his game to become a complete guard, and that's why, you know, he's having an All-American season.
Stay here in the front row over here. Go ahead.
Aaron Cousins with Penn Live. Bryce and Marcus, you can chime in too. Both Indiana and North Carolina have had success with players who've left early for the NBA draft, but both of these teams are have a little bit more older guys. What does that mean? Do you wish more players would stick around?
Well, I mean, it all depends on who you are. I mean, I just felt like I wasn't ready. I mean, I don't think I was a one-and-done type of player or a player that could have left early. So, I mean, I stuck around, and, I mean, it benefited me in the long run. So, I mean, it just depends on who you are as a person. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's your decision. But I decided that I needed to get better, and college was the best place for me to do it.
Marcus, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think it does depend on the individual. Like you said, both teams have had talented guys that have been able to leave early. And this group, for both teams, has just had people stick around. But, you know, there'll probably be a wave in a couple of years where the talent gets concentrated with these two schools again, and you'll have guys that can make that jump. So it just kind of depends. But it's kind of cool to see really good players stick around, and then you have experienced, talented teams that end up playing each other in a tournament like we are.
We have a couple here in the second row. Let's start in here. Yep.
Josh Newman, Asbury Park Press. For either player, Indiana, Carolina, that's a historically significant matchup. Has Coach Williams or any of the older Carolina guys told you what those matchups were like?
Start with Bryce.
No. I mean, I really haven't heard anything about the rivalry or the matchups between the two schools, so I can't really say much on it.
Marcus?
Yeah, we haven't really we haven't talked much about it as a group or, you know, had any specific words about the past matchups. But, you know about Michael Jordan playing his final game against Indiana in 1984 and stuff like that. And they've beaten us the last couple times we've matched up in the tournament, I think. So, I mean, I know stuff like that, but I don't think it pertains a whole lot to tomorrow's game.
Okay, stay in the second row, Adam.
Bryce, here, Adam Zagoria from SMY. Just Thomas Bryant, he's only a freshman, but obviously had a big game against Kentucky. What have you seen from him on film, or did you watch that game, and what challenges does he present?
He's a very good scorer, and he does run the court very well. I mean, he does kind of look a little weird out there sometimes, but, I mean, he's a really good player. I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, just watching him on film, it's not the norm, but, I mean, he's a really good player. You just have to challenge him to his weaknesses and not let him get to extremes. Because, I mean, like I say, he is a really good player. And he has the potential to probably leave this year if he so chooses to.
Let's go back fifth row. Just raise your hand real quick so we can see. Yep,
Greg
go ahead.
Logan of Newsday, also for Bryce. In that same vein, just in general, what did you see from the front court that Indiana displayed against Kentucky, and the athleticism, the kind of athletic bodies they had, like Troy Williams and Anunoby, in addition to Thomas Bryant?
Well, with those guys in the game and their front line, it's kind of a 4-guard, 1 big lineup for them. I mean, they do have some good size with, like you said, OG Anunoby, and with Troy in there playing the 4. But at the same time, you got to remember those guys still have a guard-like mentality, and you have to be able to. Like for myself, I got to be able to step out on the court and be able to guard those guys. But on the other end, I have to be able to impose my will and be able to do what I need to do in the post.
Okay, any more questions for the North Carolina players? Okay, here in the front.
Have you guys heard anything about the matchup in '81 for the national championship here in Philadelphia between Indiana and North Carolina?
No.
No, Indiana won. I don't know what else we need to hear about that. It's pretty obvious to look up in the Smith Center and you see a 82 banner and a 93 banner. You don't see an 81 banner. So yeah, I know it was two of the best coaches of all time coaching against each other, and kind of that started the rivalry in the tournament and whatnot. But that was a long time ago.
We'll stay here in the front row. Go ahead.
Corey Smith, 24/7 Sports. Both of you were on the team in 2012 that played at Indiana. Can you talk about what you remember from that game?
That was a really good team. I mean, that team had a few first-round draft picks on it, and I mean, they were supposed to win the championship that year, weren't they? And I mean, like I said, that was a really good team. You had guys like Cody Zeller on the team. You had Victor Oladipo, and I mean, those guys are very successful right now in their careers in the NBA. So I mean, they were a very good team. And then for us, we were kind of just throwing in the fire. I mean, after the 2012 season when the guys made it to the Elite Eight, and then we're coming in, and you got to go to Indiana and play in Assembly Hall, and that's a very tough place to play. And I thought it was probably one of the worst places for us to play as a freshman. So I mean, it's weird.
Marcus?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of positives we can take from that game, obviously, but we got a different group, and that was a different group we were playing against. Just understanding, I guess, things that pertain to tomorrow, that they also like to run the ball, and they can score the ball, at the same clip that we can, and they could back then. So I think that's one thing we talked about is how when we played them up there, they ran the ball back at us, and not a lot of teams like to run with us. So that's something we'll look forward to tomorrow, is having a team that's not afraid to push the tempo, because I think they average about the same amount of points a game as we do, in the 80s. So that's probably the one takeaway, other than us losing by like 30 that we can have from that game.
Okay, any more questions for the players? Okay, thanks, fellas. Thank you. We'll have Coach Williams in a few minutes.